guys, I'm Colin Wright, and I'm going to answer some of your questions. First question. As a traveler, what do you look for when it comes to clothing? How do you choose to buy one brand over another, or one type of jacket over another, etc.? This, I think, will be a slightly different answer, or a radically different answer for me than for a lot of travelers. I personally have a bias against clothing and products really, but clothing in particular, that has logos on it. And so a lot of like the active wear, the REI and Patagonia stuff, that might be really good products, particularly if you're doing adventure travel and things of that nature. Really resilient, there's some good companies behind it. I don't like wearing logos if I can avoid it. So those I tend to eschew completely. I just don't use them. What I typically look for is like normal clothes, things that don't make it look like I'm traveling. I don't want to look like a backpacker. I don't want to look like I'm on safari. I don't want to look like I'm out cycling or something. That will suit different people's needs if you actually are out like cycling around a country, or if you actually are out mountain climbing or whatever. But for me, when I go travel, I'm just living in the place. And so I don't want to stand out. And consequently, I tend to try to get clothes that fit well, that are made well so they can survive me for more than a couple of months and my lifestyle. Things that dry quickly, ideally, when feasible, but also things that are like 100% cotton helps a whole lot because that tends to breathe, and so it works really well in hot and cold climates interchangeably. Clothing that is a little bit interchangeable so that I can like layer it if it's cold outside, and just wear one shirt rather than a shirt and a sweater and a jacket when it's warm outside. I usually aim for things that are a little bit timeless, or as timeless as possible. So things that have a particular style, like a simplistic structure, rather than things that are trendy or fashionable. And I typically aim for things that are kind of toned down colors as well, because that allows you to wear them much more frequently without people noticing, and then everything tends to be interchangeable if you have the same palette in your clothing, in your wardrobe. And so those are the general things that I tend to look for. So in buying a jacket, I would say, does this go well with everything else that I own? Is this something that I would actually wear and that I could wear without standing out as somebody who is like in transit or from another country? And is this something that will survive me? Ideally, on top of that, and there's several companies that do this. If you go to my recommendations page, colin.io/recommendations, you can find some of the brands that I like for this. But I also tend to, when I have the choice, go with companies that produce their clothing ethically. So no sweatshops, they pay everybody a good wage, things of that nature. But you totally can dress for a safari. You totally can wear just like active wear. It certainly makes it much easier to get through immigration control and stuff if everything that you own is like, you know, a zippered hoodie and sweatpants. For me, and the way that I live, typically I wear a lot of like dark jeans and button-down shirts and polos and things of that nature. And then the second question. I know that sometimes you'll post something that's been sponsored by a brand on Snapchat or Instagram, and that you have advertisers on your podcast. How do you decide which companies to work with? This is a question I've been thinking about a lot lately. One, because when you've been doing this type of thing as long as I have, you deal with a lot of potential sponsors and such all the time. And 99% of the time I say no because they're not good fits. It may be that it would be a smart short-term financial decision to take money from an organization that I don't agree with to sponsor something that I'm doing, or so that I'll talk into a camera and say, yeah, buy XYZ product, it's so great. I don't think it's a good long-term plan because I kind of value the relationship that I have with the people who read my writing and watch my stuff and listen to my stuff. So I don't want to abuse that, and I don't want to dilute that relationship by taking that short-term gain. So I tend to avoid that type of thing. I avoid just taking the money for the money. If I'm going to take money from somebody to help me pay the bills and continue to live this way, I'll do it with companies that I already respect, that I already use or have used and have enjoyed, so I can actually speak with authority that they are a good product or service or brand. And it's something that has to make sense too. Like there's a lot of products that maybe I would use individually that are incredibly unique to me in a very specific aspect of my lifestyle. But if I don't think that you guys, the people on the other end of things, would actually benefit from it, then I'm not going to take it. And so if it's something like travel related, if it's a hotel chain, or if it's an airline or something, there's a decent chance I would take it because that's kind of relevant to what I'm talking about. And as long as they are companies that I do enjoy working with and whose services I actually approve of, then I see no problem with it. It helps me pay the bills and it helps me talk about somebody that I would probably already talk about to begin with. On the other hand, if it's somebody who either I know is a terrible company that takes advantage of people or doesn't provide a good service, or if it's something totally irrelevant, I'm not going to do it. This is a type of thought process that's still evolving for me, because I'm more of a create a product or a service and sell it type of person, as opposed to an advertising and affiliate type of person typically. But more and more of what I'm doing, I'm only able to do and provide it for free typically, because of periodic advertisers and affiliates. So it's something that's an evolving sort of thing, but those are my main priorities that I'm going to stick to ensure that I'm not diluting the relationship that I have with the people on the other end of my work, and to ensure that I'm not promoting skeevy businesses. Thanks so much for watching. If you have a question you'd like me to answer in a future video, feel free to ask it below or on the Consider This Facebook page. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet, me personally, at Colin is my name. You can find out more about me and my work, including my books and my recommendations page at colin.io. You can find my blog at exilelifestyle.com, and my podcast, Let's Know Things, can be found wherever you get your podcasts or at letsknowthings.com.